I'd like to welcome to our show Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Premier Ford has led the province for the past 5 years, championing himself as a builder. He's building a stronger economy and is attracting new business to the province, including in the areas of electric vehicles and batteries. Prior to being in provincial politics, Premier Ford was a Toronto City Councillor. He's also a successful businessman and owner of Deco Labels. Premier Ford, welcome back to our show. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Alan. It's always a pleasure.
Great to see you. I know it's a busy day for you. A lot of action downtown today, and so thanks for taking the time and joining us. I thought we'd start with I guess a general question. The last
Yes.
time you were on our show, which was I think last summer, we spoke about how well the province was doing and how much business and new investment was coming into the province. And since you were on our show, Minister Fedeli was echoing the same statements on a show not too long ago. So I guess my question for you is this, how do we take the province to the next level? What can we do to make things even better? I saw some numbers recently talking about growth in our province. We're going to be somewhere around just over 1% for 2024. At least that's the prediction. But then by next year, we're looking at 2% growth. And then by 2026, they're talking about having close to 3% growth in the province of Ontario. And I think a lot of that is due to the fruits of your labor, bringing a lot of new business. So what can you do, I guess, and what can your administration do to take the province and the growth to the next level?
Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Alan. I've always had a philosophy of, as a government, you have to create the conditions and the opportunities and the environment for companies to come here and invest into the people, into our province, into companies. It's so competitive around the world right now with large corporations vying for a place to put a facility. And if we aren't competitive, then they're going somewhere else. They're either going down to the US or over in Europe, South America, or over in Asia. And so far, we've created that climate. We've reduced the cost of doing business in Ontario by $8 billion each and every single year. And that's where we're seeing the growth in many sectors, especially the EV sector. We've seen over $28 billion of investment, tens of billions of dollars in the tech sector and life sciences. And the stat I love the most, Alan, Ontario manufacturers last year created more jobs than all 50 US states combined. That just says a lot about our ingenuity, our people, and just the companies that are arriving here on our doorstep to invest. So the other area is obviously infrastructure. We need to focus on infrastructure, and we're spending close to $184 billion. It's probably going to go up to about $190 billion over the next 10 years. And that's getting goods to market sooner, making sure, and everyone's experienced this, the traffic jams, no matter if it's on the 401 or the 400, making sure that we're building new schools. As the previous government closed 600 schools, we're putting $18 billion into building new schools all around the province. And similar to the healthcare sector, hospitals, we're building 50 either new hospitals or additions to hospitals, over $50 billion investment. So we have to continue investing into infrastructure and into people and into technology as well.
Yeah, and and it's funny. Every day I wake up and I turn on my phone and LinkedIn notification pops up, and it's Minister Fedeli and yourself at a new business in Ontario, and you're either welcoming in a new business or you're talking about a new contract that I guess our new contract, a new business has bringing in some new business from outside of the country, which is fantastic. And you bring up infrastructure, and I was wondering about that because do we have the people, the labor that we're going to need for these businesses to set up shop here? Do we have enough workers, enough skilled labor? Do we have enough labor in general to fulfill all the jobs that will be opening as businesses come to Ontario?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alan. Right now, there's 250,000 jobs available, and we're pouring money. We put over $1 billion into skilled trades. That's really where we're short. We need people to get involved in the skilled trades. It's great paying jobs. They're well over $100,000 a year now if you're in a skilled trade, and even goes up from there. Investment investing into our healthcare workers, no matter if it's nurses that we've seen over 80,000 nurses registered here in the province since we've been in office, 17,500 alone last year. And, you know, I always say you can't have a healthy economy without a healthy population. But to answer your question directly, we need more people, and either skilled or unskilled coming into this country. If they're unskilled, we'll train them up. And if they're skilled, well, they'll have a job literally immediately, multiple jobs. So that's what we're going to focus on, making sure that our province continues to grow, but we support that growth by training people.
And you mentioned already the 401 and the infrastructure. And
Yes.
I was going to ask you, and I guess it's a good segue. You know, I travel the 401 every day, and with the construction, and it's funny, you know, you look back 10 years ago, I'm born and raised in Toronto. And so I remember, you know, 10, 15 years ago, you would drive on the 401 and there'd be cars all around you. Today, the amount of trucks that are going across the 401 on a regular basis through the GTA is just tremendous. And, you know, with the construction and the congestion, it's tough. It's tough to get from, you know, from one end of the city or one end of the GTA to the other. And, you know, is your administration, are you thinking of doing anything to improve the 401? Obviously, the more traffic, the more business, the tougher it is to make deliveries. Is there anything that you could do with the 400 city highways to make things a little easier to get around?
Yeah, another great question. We're expanding, and anywhere you go now, you see construction on the highways everywhere in the province. We're really going to alleviate a lot of the congestion if we build when we build the 413, the Bradford bypass, people coming down on the 400, because more and more people are moving out of the city to get a more affordable homes and inside the city. And we're spending approximately $28 billion alone on making sure that we're expanding highways, no matter if it's Highway 7 from out in Kitchener that people have been promising for 100 years. We're finally the government that's going to get it done. And Highway 3, Highway 11 up north, Highway 11, 17. So there's a lot of construction happening absolutely everywhere. But it goes back to we need more people. We have more projects than we have contractors to build it right now. So we're going to do everything we can to train these workers to get in there and start working. As for the people that are taking transit, we came up with something called One Fare. So for example, you can start on a GO train in Barrie, come all the way down to Union Station, hop on the TTC, head out to Mississauga, all on one fare. It's about $1,600 a year in savings for people. We're building the largest transit system in North America. We're doubling the size of the TTC, the subway system here, building LRTs out in Mississauga, the Hazel McCallion line. So we're trying to get people out of their cars onto rapid transit. The only way you do that is you build a quality transit system. And that's what we're really focused on, spending about $90 billion in total, including the GO train expansion, all day two-way GO out to areas, no matter if it's Niagara or the Milton line and other lines that will really help people.
Yeah, this the one price or one charge for the fare. It's been a fantastic. I know a lot of individuals, a lot of people that work in my office talking about that. So that's been great. Changing gears a little bit. Changing gears a little bit. I know your government is committed to accelerating the building of homes.
Yes.
And we spoke about that last July. And I think back then you had said, you know, let's flood the market with as many homes as we can, different price points. That is really the only way to get the price of housing down in Ontario, in and around the GTA, increase the supply. Are your intentions still the same? Are you still having the same mindset, or has anything changed?
No, I believe in the same philosophy. Let's flood the market, but there's a couple kickers here. One is absolutely critical. The Bank of Canada has to lower their interest rates. If they don't lower their interest rates, people are going to be in deep trouble a year down the road, 2 years down the road when they renew. And you know, if you see the interest rates come down, you're going to see homes pop up like mushrooms all over the province. People are going to be able to afford to put a deposit and and buy a home. We put about $1.5 billion, something called the Building Faster Fund. We're actually paying municipalities. We've set targets. We hold them accountable if they don't, and if they do, they get rewarded with a big check. And we've been traveling around the province handing out checks, but to enable them to focus on infrastructure, because some areas, not all, but some areas can't build because the infrastructure is not there. The water, the sewer, treatment plants, and now they're going to have an opportunity to build. So we're pouring money into infrastructure. Made an announcement last week, largest infrastructure funding in the history of this country, over $3 billion for communities around our province to enable them to build homes.
Are you finding it difficult in terms of space, to find space to build the homes, or is there still a lot of space out there that still can be used?
Well, there's space, but around, I'll give you an example, TOCs, we call them transit-oriented communities. When you have a subway, you have to build density around the subway stops. But out in the rural areas, as long as they have the infrastructure, they'll be able to build. So we're confident we're going to make sure we hit our targets, the 1.5 million homes that we said over the next 10 years. But it all comes down to having a great partnership with municipalities, all 444 of them, and working with them hand in hand. And obviously, the key kicker again is that Bank of Canada interest rate.
Yeah, for sure. And with rates as high as they are, they've been hopefully coming down at some point, but they seem to be kicking the can down the road a little bit with.
It's frustrating. It is frustrating. You know, they first said, not to get deep into the weeds here, but they told everyone as long as the inflation falls below 3%, we'll lower them. Well, it fell down to 2.9, then it went down to 2.8, and they're still, dragging their heels there.
Yeah, it's difficult, and I guess leading from that, a lot of Ontarians, a lot of Canadians in general, doing their taxes right now, right, filing their tax return in the next month or so, and we're all now figuring out how much we've paid in tax, how much we need still to pay in more tax by the end of April. You couple that with, as we said, higher interest rates, higher costs in general. It's getting tough for a lot of Ontarians to carry the debt that they have. So I guess, just continuing from our conversation, what would you say to Ontarians today? Is there anything that you could do, your administration can do to lower maybe some of the tax burden on some of these individuals? Because it's a question I get all the time, Alan, what can we do to lower our taxes? And unfortunately, it's only RSPs that they can do, but outside of that, there's not much else.
Yeah, well, something, I hate taxes. I really hate them. And it just takes money out of people's pockets. I have a little philosophy that you keep money into people's pockets. They'll go out, we'll go out for dinner, buy a piece of furniture, put a renovation on. And if they have less money in their pockets, they aren't going to do that. So the really good news is we've never raised a tax. Think of that, Alan. We've never raised a tax on businesses or people in 5.5 years. We don't plan on it. We plan on getting revenue through growth. And we've seen growth. Our budget when we first walked through Queen's Park was $150 billion. We grew revenues by $52 billion through growth, not through raising taxes, through economic development and prosperity. But I get it. I hear it all the time, Alan. People are struggling right now, no matter if it's the high fuel cost, and we're going to see the federal government jack up the carbon tax, which is just, you can't even comprehend why they do that. Increasing carbon tax by 23%, taking more money out of the pockets of people because everything gets delivered. The food gets delivered to the stores on these trucks. They go get delivered products on trains and planes. But they're just gouging the people. It's unacceptable. I'll never raise a tax. I don't believe in taxes. I believe in growth and revenue. But I'll tell you, I hear it all the time. 3 key things: affordable rent or homes, affordable groceries, and affordable fuel. Those are the 3 key areas. And we're able to knock the price down on the gas as the federal government is raising the tax. I just announced the other day, we're going to freeze the tax cut, 10.7 cents. Again, moving forward all the way to the end of this year, that saves people $320. The one fare saves people $1,600. The sticker license fee saves a few $100s. Getting rid of the tolls, that saves people a few $100s. It all adds up. My job as premier is to make sure that we're prudent fiscal managers with the taxpayers' money, and that I'm always looking at ways to reduce cost, not increase cost. Because the easy thing for any government, and I see it over and over again, is just to increase taxes and blame someone else. There's no reason to raise taxes. When Rob and I were down at City Hall, the first day I walked through the office with Rob, they said, you have $774 million of pressure. You have to raise taxes 20%. We looked at each other. We thought, we aren't raising taxes. We drove efficiencies and delivered a 0% tax increase the first year, saved the taxpayers $1 billion. And it's just any government that says you got to raise taxes, you need a new government.
Yeah, it's as you said, it's I think you told us last show, it's not an income problem, it's a spend problem a lot of times.
100% it is.
Yeah, and you think these extra taxes, what does that do to inflation? And therefore, the Bank of Canada, and they come back and say our hands are tied because the inflation levels don't come down. So,
yeah, and energy too. Yeah, energy cost drives up inflation as well.
Yeah, so just snowballs. My last question I thought would be an interesting one for you, maybe one that you don't get too often. And obviously, as we all know, in the U.S., they're having a big election in November. Very important to all of us in Ontario, as Minister Fedeli mentioned, that we are now the third largest trading partner, Ontario alone, to the United States. So the election is going to be pretty big down there, who wins and whatnot. But a lot of what's going on down there right now, a lot of conversation is around a wealth tax. Democrats and current administration believe the wealthiest don't pay their fair share. So I thought it would be interesting to end on a question with yourself and see what you feel or how you feel about a wealth tax. How do you feel about increasing the tax on the wealthiest Ontarians? Would that be something that you would consider? And what is your, I guess, feeling about this whole notion of a wealth tax?
I'm dead against it. I'm dead against taxes, no matter if it's the poorest or the wealthiest. Keep in mind, previous governments tried this, and guess what happened? The previous government lost 300,000 jobs because wealthy people are not stupid people. They don't see a return on investment. Guess what? They lift their money up and they invest it somewhere else in the world or even within the country. I believe in job creators, and a lot of them are job creators that allow people to have a better job and a bigger paycheck at the end of the day. So we can't drive investment out of this province. We have to encourage wealthier people all over the world. Guess what? There's a place called Ontario. We're open for business. We keep our taxes low, and please come invest, put your facility here, employ people, great paying jobs, and that's how you grow the economy. You don't tax people, especially the wealthiest people, because I can guarantee you, we've seen it before, they will take their money out of this province as quicker than you can say your name. So taxes are just a poison when it comes to, with me. I can't stand them. It doesn't create growth and wealth on any sector, no matter if you don't have a large income or medium or small income. Taxes are the worst thing you could do to people.
Yes, I agree, and I think many would agree with you. Premier Ford, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of a busy day for you, I know, and for being with us here today, this afternoon. All the best. Good luck for the rest of the afternoon. It's been a pleasure having you, and look forward to talking with you again down the road.
Yeah, I really look forward to it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Premier, take care.
Thanks,
all the best.
Okay, all the best. Thank you.